Hello students, welcome to Arise Your Talent. As you know, we are studying a very important chapter, that is our environment. Okay, in my previous lecture, I have already taught you what is environment, what is ecosystem, what are the different types of ecosystem, and in that I taught you that there are the two main components of the environment, that are abiotic factors and biotic factors. In our previous lecture, we have already studied about the abiotic factors. Now we are going to talk about biotic factors of the environment. So now we are going to talk about biotic factors or components. We can say that biotic factors or biotic components of the environment. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to talk about it. So here we go. Generally, what are the biotic factors? What do you mean by biotic components or biotic factors? So, biotic factors are the living organisms. Okay, they are living organisms, or we can say these are the living components, or you can say living organisms in the environment. Okay, in the environment. So, these are known as biotic factors. Now, these biotic factors are categorized into three groups. What are they? They are generally of three types. They are producers, okay, then consumers, and decomposers. Okay, so let's study from here. Producers means something or a living organism which is producing something. Okay, those are known as producers. So here the producers are what? They are plants. Okay, now plants are producing what? They are producing food. Okay, they are synthesizing food. Why? Because they possess photosynthetic pigment, that is known as chlorophyll. So we can say that these producers means they are generally green plants or blue-green algae, means cyanobacteria. Okay, so what happens actually? The producers means the green plants, they absorb sunlight, they trap the sunlight, means they trap the solar energy, then they convert it into the chemical energy by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, then they make glucose, means they prepare their food. Fine. Then what happens? Second part of the biotic factor, that is known as consumer. Now, what is the meaning of consumer? Consumer, someone who is consuming something from others. Okay. Now, here the consumers, what they are doing? They are eating food from the producers, means whatever the material is prepared by the producer, then it is eaten by the consumer. Clear? So, consumer are generally the animals. Okay, why they are animals? Because they cannot synthesize their food. Why? Because they do not have any photosynthetic pigment. Clear? So here we can say that the biotic components are they are of three types: producers, consumers, and the third one is decomposer. Here I told you producer means someone who is producing something, means here the producers are the plants which are preparing the food. Then consumers are the animals which are eating the food which is prepared by the producers, means the plant. Okay, is it clear? Two things are clear. Then what happens when these consumers get died? Okay, then they are decomposed, means whatever the organic material is present in these consumers, it got decomposed by the decomposers. And what are the decomposers? They are bacteria and fungi. Clear? In all this process, the heat is released. Clear? When the producers make food, then also heat is released. When it is eaten by the consumer, then also heat is released. And when the consumers are decomposed by the bacteria or fungi, means by the decomposers, in this process the heat is also released. Okay, so these are the three types of biotic components which are present in the environment. Now what happens when these decomposers decompose the organic matter of the consumers? Okay, then what happens? They release abiotic chemicals. What are they? Carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen and minerals. Okay, and then they release these components in the environment, and this is the reason that the decomposers plays an important role in the biogeochemical cycles, which we have already studied in class 9th. Okay, so now what happens? These abiotic chemicals which are released by the decomposers, by the decomposition of organic matter of consumer, then these abiotic chemicals are released in the environment. Clear? And then they get mixed in the soil, or they are released in the air and water. Clear? Thus they play, means the decomposers play an important role in the biogeochemical cycles. Clear? So this is the all about the biotic factors of environment. Now let's study here. First of all, we will talk about producers. What are producers? As I told you, that producers are the green plants. Yes, they are generally green plants. They are generally green plants and blue-green algae which is also known as cyanobacteria. Okay, they are generally green plants and blue-green algae. Actually, what happens? They possess photosynthetic pigment. Okay, they possess photosynthetic pigment. What is photosynthetic pigment? That is chlorophyll and synthesize their food by trapping solar energy. Okay, then they convert this solar energy into the chemical energy, and then they prepare food in the form of glucose. So actually what happens? These producers take carbon dioxide from the environment, okay, as well as they take water. Then in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, here let me mention sunlight and chlorophyll, what they do? They prepare glucose and then they release oxygen in the environment. Clear? So this is the whole process which is performed by the producers, mean the green plants. Okay, then glucose is prepared, then this glucose is consumed by the consumer. Clear? So this is all about the producers. Now next we will talk about consumers. Next is consumers. Second is consumer. Now what are consumers? Consumers means they eat the food which is prepared by the producers. So here we can mention that the consumers are generally animals. Okay, they are generally animals. Okay, they eat food prepared by producers. Okay, now on the basis of eating habit, the consumers are of three types. What are they? They are generally herbivores, okay, then carnivores, okay, and then omnivores. Clear? So generally herbivores are also known as primary consumers. They eat plants, also known as primary consumers. They are known as primary consumers. Okay. Herbivores are also known as primary consumers. Now next is carnivores. These herbivores are eaten by the animals. They are known as carnivores. So thus we can say that the animals which eat the flesh of plant eating animals, they are known as carnivores, and they are also known as secondary consumers. Okay, here the carnivores are again divided into further categories. Let me mention here that the carnivores means they eat flesh of herbivores. Okay, then they are again of two types. What are they? Secondary consumers, they are also known as secondary consumers, and then next is tertiary consumer. Tertiary consumer means the animals which eat, these animals means which eat the secondary consumers, they are known as tertiary consumers. Okay, next is tertiary consumers. What are tertiary consumers? The consumers which eat the secondary consumers. Consumers who eat the secondary consumers. Okay, clear? So they are known as tertiary consumers. Now the third one is omnivore. Omnivores are the consumers which can eat both the plants as well as the flesh of other animals. Clear? So here what are omnivores? Omnivores like consumers or the animals who eat both plants and flesh of other animals. Okay, so these are omnivores. Now come on the diagram. Here as I told you that the producers are the plants. Okay, they can synthesize their own food. This is the reason they are known as autotrophs. Here we can mention that the producers are known as autotrophs. Okay, and the consumers, here I told you that the consumers are of different type. They can be herbivores, they can be carnivores, and they can be omnivores. Okay, herbivores which eat the producers means the plant, and the carnivores which eat these herbivores. Okay, clear? And then as they cannot synthesize their food, they are known as heterotrophs. Okay, so consumers are heterotrophs and producers are autotrophs. Why? Because producers can synthesize their food in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll and carbon dioxide and water. Clear? And this process is known as photosynthesis. But the consumers, they do not have any photosynthetic pigment, so they cannot synthesize their food, and these are known as heterotrophs. Clear? So here I told you about the two factors of biotic components, producers and consumers. Now we will talk about the third component, that is decomposers. What are decomposers? Decomposers are the microorganisms, okay, who decompose the organic compounds present in the dead material. Okay, dead material like dead plants or animals and their feces and urine. Okay, then they release inorganic material in the environment. Clear? So next is decomposer. Third one is decomposers. Okay. What are decomposers? The microorganisms that break down the organic compounds present in dead organisms like dead plants and animals and their products like feces, urine, etc. into simple substances. Okay, these are decomposers. Clear? So here what are the examples of decomposers? They are bacteria and fungi. So these three are the main biotic components which are present in the environment. Okay, so here we studied about the biotic factors of the environment. Now we will talk about the food chain. Actually, what is the food chain? Food chain is the sequence in which the energy flows from the from the sun to producer and then producer to the different animals. Clear? So next topic is food chain. Yes, food chain. Here you can see the different types of organisms present in this food chain. So, first of all, as I told you, the biotic components, in that I told you the first biotic component is always producer. Why? Because it can produce, it can synthesize its food. Okay, now what happens? Food chain always begins with the plant. Okay, so here the producer is grass. Okay, then this grass is eaten by the primary consumer, that is herbivore, which already I told you that the in that topic which was biotic factor. Okay, so here the grass is eaten by the grasshopper. Then what happens? This is the primary consumer. Then secondary consumer is what? The secondary consumer here is the bluebird. Then this bluebird eats the grasshopper and gets the energy. Clear? Then this bluebird is eaten by snake. This is known as tertiary consumer. I told you in the previous topic, I told you that the tertiary consumer eats the flesh of secondary consumer. Clear? So here the snake is tertiary consumer. It is eating the bluebird and getting the energy from it. Now this snake is eaten by the owl. Okay. And then when this owl die, then it is decomposed by the decomposer. Then whatever minerals and inorganic substances are released, they again get dissolved in the soil and in water. Then they reach to the what? They reach to the producer. This is complete food chain. So what is food chain? Here let me mention food chain. Okay, so we can say that food chain is a sequence. Food chain is a sequence to flow the energy from one producer, or we can say from one organism to the another organism. Here plant is also an organism. This is a living organism. Okay. So what can we say? That the food chain is the sequence of flow of energy from one consumer to the another consumer. Clear? Let me mention the sequence of the flow of energy in the form of food. Okay, here the grass is food of grasshopper. Okay, so here we can mention the sequence of the flow of energy in the form of food from one living thing to another. From one living thing to another. Okay, so this is all about the food chain. Here we are there with the different types of food chains. What are they? Here you can see that tree, which is the producer here. It is eaten by a deer. Okay, deer eats the leaves of the tree, then it is eaten by the lion. So what is the flow of energy? The flow of energy is from the tree to deer and from deer to lion. Okay, in the next food chain we can see here is the fly. Okay, so fly eats the part of the plant that is flower. Okay, now the flies get the energy from the flower and then this fly is eaten by the frog. Then frog gets the energy from the fly only. Okay, then this frog is eaten by the snake and this snake get the energy from the frog. Clear? Then this snake is eaten by the eagle. So energy flows from the snake to eagle. So what is the mode of energy here? From flower to fly, fly to frog. So here this fly is the primary consumer, that is herbivore. Okay, from fly to frog, then secondary consumer, frog to snake, that is tertiary consumer, and snake to eagle. Okay, clear? Next example is flower. Flower to small fishes. This is for the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, this example is of the aquatic ecosystem. Here the aquatic plant is flower of aquatic plant is eaten by the small fishes and this small fish is eaten by the large fish and then this large fish is eaten by the bird. So what is the mode of energy? Flow of energy from the flower to small fishes, small fish to large fish and large fish to birds. Okay, so it is all about the food chain. So what is the food chain? Food chain, here we can see that it is the sequence of energy, of flow of energy in the form of food from one organism to the another. Clear? So here we studied about the food chain. So it is all about the food chain. Now we will talk about the different trophic levels. What are the trophic levels? Trophic levels means the sequential steps. Let me show you. The sequential steps in which the flow of energy occurs, okay, are known as different trophic levels. Okay, so here we can see that the producers, they are generally known, it is the first trophic level. Okay, from the producers energy is energy flows from first trophic level to the second trophic level, that is to the herbivore, means T2, and here from herbivore the energy flows to the secondary consumer, that is the third level of trophic. Okay, this is the third trophic level, and from the secondary consumer the energy flows to the tertiary consumer. This is the this is known as T4 level or the fourth level of the fourth trophic level. So here we will talk about the different trophic levels. Trophic levels. What are trophic levels? The sequential steps, in the food chain, where flow of energy is referred are known as different trophic levels. Clear? So here this producer is known as T1, means first trophic level. Okay, then from producers energy is flown to secondary, means to primary consumer, that is herbivore. So this is known as second trophic level, that is T2, and from herbivores the energy flows to the secondary consumer, that is known as T3, and from third trophic level the energy flows to the tertiary consumer, that is known as T4 level. Okay, so here we can say that there are the 4 trophic levels from producer to the tertiary consumers. Clear? And in each level energy flows from each level to the different level. Clear? So these are known as the trophic level, means the flow of energy from the one level to the another. Okay, these different levels are known as trophic levels of the energy. Clear? So here in this lecture we studied about the biotic components, okay, in which I told you that there are the 3 main biotic components which are present in the environment. What are they? They are producers, then consumers, then decomposers. Okay, producers means plants, generally plants, because they have the photosynthetic pigment and then they can synthesize their food. Generally they are known as autotrophs, and the animals which eat those plants, okay, they are the primary consumers. Here you can see that they are known as herbivores. Then those consumers, means those primary consumers are eaten by the other animals, okay, then they are known as secondary consumers. Okay, means secondary consumers eat the herbivores, means primary consumers, and then they get the energy. Then these secondary consumers are eaten by the tertiary consumers and then they get the energy from it. Okay, so here we discussed about the consumers. Then third biotic component was decomposers. Decomposers means when these animals get died, then they are decomposed by bacteria and fungi and then they release inorganic material in the environment. This is the reason that the decomposers are generally known as what? They are generally known as the cleaning agent of the environment. Okay, why? Because whatever plants or animals get die in the environment, the decomposers decompose them and then they clean the environment. Okay, second thing, that decomposers plays an important role in the environment. Why? Because they help in the biogeochemical cycle by releasing the different material in the environment. Okay, and then I told you these were the biotic components. Then I told you about the food chain. What is the food chain? Food chain means the flow of energy from one organism to the another. Okay, then we studied the different trophic levels. Here what are the trophic levels? The sequential levels of the flow of energy from the one organism to the another. Here, okay, clear. So hope this lecture is clear to you and hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you.